we see him in many of his roles where he's really a very likable guy. And he was in many respects, but also we can say as a father he was distant at times. And if you would share just a little bit about his devotion to his career versus his devotion, let's say, to his family.
Yes, well, that's what the book is about. I celebrate him. He was a great actor. I mean, if you look at those clips, I defy anybody here to see Glenn Ford film and catch him acting. You can never catch him acting. He was an incredible performer. And you look at that little clip from T.L.C. August Moon, or any of his comedies, and then you look at a film like The Big Heat, which you saw, or Blackboard Jungle, or Gilda, or then you look at his westerns, 3:10 to Yuma, Cowboy, and he was so good in so many different genres. But he went to work at 6 in the morning, and he put everything he did, because he was a consummate actor, into his craft. And when he came home at night, sadly for me, he didn't have time for me or my mother. But also, Rob, he was a ladies' man, and he was a philanderer. And but you know, as Rob pointed out, I've been married to my dear Linda over here for this December be 41 years. So I'm a fan. But I look, but I don't touch. but my dad, not only did he look, touch, but he went beyond that. Do I share the magic number that I talked to you about?
Well, I think you should. You know, what's amazing in the book is that Peter had resources to draw from that many other authors do not, because his father, as he can tell you, kept a journal every day of his life for years and years and years. I've seen these books, and this is like a library in and of itself. And when Peter was reading through them for the book, he found out some extraordinary things, including...
Well, yes, including... Well, first of all, he had a torrid affair with Rita. My mother found out about it, but I was very young. Again, I was born in 1945, and you know, the divorce was not fashionable back in the 40s, and or the 50s for that matter. And so my mom stuck it out, but well, you know, he had a prodigious output in films, but his lady, he was the Bill Clinton of our era, believe me. 143 women I have in the books, and on tape he talks about them, and so, but I didn't want to really go there, Rob. I'm sure I could have sold a lot of books had I gone that route, you know. And not necessarily the Daddy Dearest book, but, you know, the salacious stuff. But I put enough in there to whet your appetites and to let you know that, you know, this was just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. But no, it's amazing, you know, how could he have the time to do all of this work? But he did, and as you ladies out there, some of you who even talked to me before I came in here said, oh my God, he was so handsome, and he was a heartthrob. He was I don't know, the George Clooney of his era. And a lot of people think he was Jimmy Stewart, you know, not only a Jimmy Stewart-esque character on film, but in his life. But in truth, he was more Errol Flynn than you'd like to know. But the ladies loved him, and he loved them. But what I mentioned at the Society of Four Arts when I was there today, when I was about 16, I came to the conclusion that I'd never have a dad, really. I mean, he was never there for me. And as some lady out front said to me, you know, your dad gave me and so many others so much pleasure. And I recognize that. I was a pretty mature kid as an only child, and really kind of raising myself. My dear mother was a blessed angel, but she had no skills to deal with this little beast that I became. And it was really tough growing up in that environment. And so about the age of 16, I decided I'm going to become a fan, just like all of you. And somebody at the Four Arts asked me, you know, when you started working on the book with your dad, which I did. He died in 2006 at age 90. And he and I started talking about this book a couple of years before he passed, and she said to ask me if there was a rapprochement or any kind of healing, but you know, we never really, he wasn't really the father that, you know, I look at Courtship of Eddie's father, and he's a great actor, but that was never it for us at the house. So, you know, what can you do? I try to do everything for my wife and my 3 children that he didn't do for me, because I know how important it was for me and how much it would have enhanced my life. But, you know, there's a killing field out there of us offspring. Look at, you know, Bing Crosby's sons. And I was in school with Charles Boyer's son, Michael, at Santa Monica one day, and he didn't show up the next. He committed suicide. Art Linkletter's daughter jumped to her death. I mean, it's Barbara Eden. It's really tough growing up. So you either look at life and say, you know, I'm going to look at the bromide now, I guess, but the glass half full, and that's always been my mission. I think my dad, though, was looking for something he never found, and with all these women, and 4 marriages, he was looking for love. And I think that's something we all look for and wish for, and I've been very lucky to have found mine, and but he never found it, and he was a really sadly very lonely guy. And but you know, all of us guys and girls in the audience here, it takes 2. You have to work on it. You know, it's not one-sided, and I just don't think my dad knew how, had the skills to give in that way to a woman, or to take the time to do it. And so it was just, you know, he lived a kind of a sad life. But I think, again, in his work, which is what you know, I'm talking to you here, and we're just a finite little group to the people out there who see his films, he's given a tremendous amount of joy, and I celebrate that.
Very good.